Protest rocks Lagos over hunger demolitions. FCTA demolishes 11 duplexes built under high-tension lines in Abuja. 7 killed as suspected bandits in illegal miners clash in Kaduna community. On the foreign scene, dozens injured at state funeral for Kenya opposition leader Odinga. A warm welcome to News Hour on Trust TV. I am Maimuna Bagodu. Now, members of the Take It Back movement on Friday marched to the Lagos State Assembly in Alausa, condemning recent demolitions in Oworishoki and accusing the Oworishoki Security Committee and the Oba of using security forces to intimidate and silence residents. The protesters described the demolitions as a deepening poverty in the community and demanded accountability from local authorities. The report.
Hundreds of Lagos residents on Friday morning took to the streets in a peaceful protest against what they describe as rising hunger and unjust demolitions that have displaced many families in Oworishoke and other parts of the state. The demolition, led by the Take It Back movement in collaboration with several civil society organizations, began at Ikeja Bridge, where protesters gathered before marching towards Alausa, the seat of the Lagos state government, chanting solidarity songs and carrying placards with inscriptions such as "Stop the Demolition" and "End Hunger Now." The protesters demanded that the state government host ongoing demolitions and provide immediate relief for affected residents.
Demolition must stop in Oworu. It has got trauma to our life. It has got trauma to many families. Many families died during the first demolition in 2023. Many people died. Many children they died. Many children died. So we are not going to relent until government hear our voice. Because like now, nobody has ever come and say categorically that they are in charge of what is happening. Lefska is denying the fact that they don't know anything. Lefska is saying that they are coming just to do enumeration. So like they called me, they said we should meet at Oba place. I said, for what? In as much my community is there and we have community leaders there as well. So why coming to Oba Palace? Let's meet at the community. Come and tell the people what is happening or what your intention of doing.
Demanding an end to poverty in Nigeria. The third demand is, we are saying that the ongoing demolition in Oworishoki must be stopped immediately, and the people whose houses and property have been demolished must be compensated and resettled.
Speaking during the protest, National Coordinator Take It Back movement accused the government of implementing anti-poor policies that worsen living conditions for ordinary citizens. He argued that demolitions carried out without resettlement plans have pushed many families into homelessness and poverty, while inflation and rising fuel costs have made survival increasingly difficult.
If another wave of demolition comes to Oworu, if another wave of demolition comes to Oworu, it will be Aluta Infinito. No, let me spell what Aluta Infinito means. We will all of us in Oworishoki, all the victims of demolition, all the members of Take It Back movement in Lagos, and all of our affiliates, all of our allies, we are going to come here at the Lagos State House of Assembly. Yes. We will bring our bed. Yes. We will bring our pots. Yes. We will bring our chairs. Yes. We will bring everything we have. Yes. Since they have demolished our house, yes, we will come and occupy the government house. Yes.
The Take It Back movement vowed to continue its campaign until the state hoists demolitions, compensates displaced families, and adopts policies that ease the burden of poverty on Lagos residents.
In a significant move, the Federal Capital Territory Administration has demolished 11 duplexes erected directly under high-tension power lines and close to natural stream channels in Abuja after several warnings and stop-work notice were ignored by the developers. Habibat Ajayi has more to it.
The director of the Department of Development Control, Mukhtar Galadima, who led the demolition exercise along Garbaduba Street in Duse District, says the action was necessary to prevent potential hazards and safeguard future infrastructure projects. He explained that the FCTA's engineering department confirmed plans to construct a bridge across the same stream channel, reinforcing the need to clear the illegal structures.
It's a statutory allocated plot to Nigerian police. They requested for approval and applied for building plan approval, which we declined for the fact that it is in close proximity to high tension line as well as a stream channel. So we declined to grant approval, but they move ahead to work. We have been serving notices even from the excavation stage. Various stages of development, we've been serving notice. We even communicated to them in writing that the work should be stopped. But unfortunately, maybe considering their institution and agency, they moved on. And then engineering department wrote to us they intend to construct a bridge on that particular section of the district. So which we also informed them that there is a proposed bridge that is going to be constructed over the stream channel. So there's nothing we can do about it. What we are advising is that since it is a statutory allocated plot, the FCT administration can give them alternative sites.
During the operation, some FCTA staff were reportedly detained by the Nigerian police, prompting the intervention of the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, who visited the site and addressed the situation.
You can see the high tension, and so that it's unfortunate to get killed by Nigerian police. And they applied for approval, and the government controls the group of them know where they can give approval. Look at where the high tension is. So they gave it to stop. They refused to stop, and then they have to come here for to make sure that the buildings are brought down. But they were arrested by the Nigerian police. So I have to come and see things for myself, and all of us have seen. Look at the high tension. How would anybody take such a risk?
The minister also spoke while flagging up the construction of Collector Road CO1 in the Institute and Research District, linking the body of benches complex to Nile University, including a bridge. The past chairman of the body of benches, Adegbenga Womolo, appreciated the development but appealed for the establishment of a fire service station within the district. Responding, the minister promised to consider the request while assuring residents that ongoing projects reflect President Bola Tinubu's commitment to delivering visible results in the FCT. He further reaffirmed his administration's commitment to infrastructure renewal across the capital city. Habibat Ajayi, Trust TV News, Abuja.
Now, the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU, has called on the federal government to increase funding for public universities, warning that chronic underinvestment remains the root cause of recurring strikes and declining global rankings. Now, appearing before the Senate Committee on Tertiary Institutions and TET Fund on Friday, ASU President Chris Piwuna said the ongoing two-week warning strike stems from unresolved issues dating back to 2011, including inadequate funding, poor working conditions, and lack of university autonomy. Piwana disclosed that although the National Assembly approved 150 billion naira for university revitalization, only 50 billion naira has been released and remains stalled at the Ministry of Education, which allegedly plans to share it among all tertiary institutions. He urged the Senate to ensure transparency and that the funds are used exclusively for universities, while also raising concerns over alleged encroachment on University of Abuja land by FCT Minister Nyesom Wike. Now, ASU began its warning strike on October 13, accusing the government of failing to honor the 2009 FGN-ASU agreement, while the government insists it has met most demands and maintains its no work, no pay stance. ASU says only sustained, transparent investment can end the cycle of strikes and restore stability to the university system. The Senate has expressed concerns over the ongoing industrial dispute between the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU, and the federal government, pledging to mediate and facilitate a lasting solution. Now, Chairman of the Senate Committee on Tertiary Institutions and TET Fund, Senator Aliyu Ganduje, made these known after a closed-door meeting with ASU's leadership at the National Assembly. He said the Senate would immediately initiate negotiations involving key stakeholders, including ASU, the Ministry of Education, and the National Universities Commission, NUC, to resolve the issue. On the University of Abuja land dispute, Ganduje said the Senate would engage FCT Minister Nyesom Wike to find an amicable resolution. The committee also urged ASU to submit a detailed list of demands to enable lawmakers to explore legislative and policy interventions aimed at addressing the root causes of the recurrent crisis in the nation's universities. Now, at the aftermath of a banditry that led to years of mass killings, displacement of residents, rustling of animals, abandonment of farmlands, social and economic deprivation, Basari communities are now grappling with abject poverty and shortages of basic necessities. For instance, one of the worst hit community is Madadabangarba in southern Basari town, the headquarters of Basari local government area in Katsina State. And Trust TV's Abdullahi Yamadi visited the braved community whose families, houses, education, health, social and economic well-being have been inflicted by the decades-long banditry. The report.
Under the cloudless sky of Basari lies Madadabangarba with over 10,000 inhabitants, including young and old, trying hard to endure the scars of insecurity inflicted on them. Though enjoying a fragile peace, the tragic dilemma is when victims of banditry are left with no basic necessities. The dusty road that links Basari with Madadabangarba and other communities used to be a path of livelihood as it led to farms, markets, and family compounds, where the rhyme of rural life flowed in harmony. Similarly, the path also links Basari town with about 12 other farming communities of Ghana, Torawa, Takalafia, Adari, Shanu, Dauradawa, Madadabangurasa, Burji, Yamazari, Welare, and Barankada. But today, this same path bears scars of fear. To be honest, we are suffering untold hardship due to this bad road. In fact, at many instances, especially when it rains, it used to be impassable. We are forced to abandon this route and pass through long distance to connect with Basari town, the local government headquarters. Shamwelu Aminu Madadabang Fegi is my name. At the moment, we don't have access road. Our school is in pathetic condition. No health facility, no water. They have all collapsed. For over 10 years, We want the relevant authorities to rebuild our communities in the spirit of humanity. For many years, the people of this area have endured relentless attacks from armed bandits. They have watched their families scattered, their elders displaced, and their young men buried in shallow graves. Women have been kidnapped, assaulted, and left broken. Children now grow up knowing more about gunshots than the basics of life, such as education. Again, the poor state of their road, school, hospital, and water facility in this once vibrant community remain a mirage. My name is Hamisu Jibiru, Madadaban Garba. This village is in terrible condition. Our houses have collapsed due to years of banditry. We need help from relevant authorities. Since the peace deal with bandits, we have never received any intervention from anywhere. My name is Aminu Abdullahi Madadaban Garba. Now, we don't have basic necessities. In fact, we fetch water from a nearby stream for drinking and other domestic purposes, which is dangerous to our health. Please convey our request to our representatives. But for those who lost everything, the recent peace accord in Bazari local government was not just about pride. It was about survival. This reinforces the eagerness of the residents who now cry out for help from governments, donor agencies, individuals, and other corporate bodies to at least find a modest living, one that could open a window for future development. Abdullahi Ismayamadi, Trust Television News, Katsina.
Now, at least 7 people have been killed in a violent clash between suspected bandits and illegal miners at Kuyelo Ward in Birinungwari local government area of Kaduna State. Now, residents say the fight erupted after a bandit from Zamfara State demanded a monetary levy from miners operating in the area. The bandit was reportedly killed and buried by the miners, prompting a reprisal attack from the gang. Now, during the retaliation, the armed group stormed the mining site, killing 7 people, including some miners. Security operatives have since been deployed to the community to forestall further violence, while several suspects believed to have fled from Zamfara have been arrested. The incident comes nearly a year after relative peace returned to Birinungwari following government peace efforts. Now, residents are now urging the state government to ban illegal mining to prevent a further conflict. President Bola Tinubu recently described illegal mining as a major threat to regional peace and development, calling for it to be classified as an international crime. Now, the Kano state government has filed a 10-count criminal charge against former Governor Abdullahi Umar Ganduje, his 2 sons, and 5 others over the alleged diversion of 4.49 billion naira in state funds meant for the Dalai Inland Dry Port project. The defendants, including ex-Shippers Council Executive Secretary Hassan Bello, former aide Abubakar Sahabo Bawuro, Adamu Aliyu Sanda, and Dalai Inland Dry Port Limited, are accused of criminal conspiracy, misappropriation of public funds, breach of trust, and conflict of interest. Now, prosecutors allege that the group diverted 20% of the state's equity in the dry port to private use and fraudulently transferred shares to a proxy firm City Green Enterprise to conceal true ownership. They also allegedly used public funds for infrastructure at the port site, including roads and electricity for personal and family benefit. The charge for the claims the defendant used sham entities and forged documents to mislead regulators and channel state funds through Safari Textile Limited to private businesses. Meanwhile, Dala Inland Dry Port Limited has denied any link between Ganduje or his family and the company, describing reports to the contrary as false and malicious. Now, a civil society group under the umbrella of Nigeria Integrity Movement has called for transparency in probing the allegation of NYSC certificate of the Minister of Interior Olubunmi Tunji-Ojo. Speaking at the World Press Conference in Abuja, the group urged President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to resist any pressure to protect any appointee accused of document irregularities. The group's convener, Isaiah Davis Ijele, described calls by some interest groups for the president to shield the minister as dangerous and demanding and damaging to the government's reputation for rule-based governance.
Indeed, they have been shedding this issue. And on this same certificate issue, we have the former Minister of Finance resigned. On this same certificate issue, we have the former minister also, Unaji, resigned. Why is Tunji Ojo stay in office without proper investigation into his own issue? If Tinubu indeed, according to him, as an old man, that I want to leave Nigeria with a legacy after my name, then Tunji Ojo must be subject to scrutiny, investigation by the security service, investigation by the DSS, because the question, to NYSC and their response, brought more questions even than the answers that they are needed to give.
Governor Alex Oti of Abia State has warned individuals allegedly plotting to rig the 2027 governorship election in the state to write their will before planning to subvert the will of the people. Oti issued the warning on Thursday during his monthly media interaction with journalists at the government house in Umuahia, the state capital. The governor said he has received reports that some political actors were already holding meetings and planning to take over the state through unlawful means ahead of the 2027 polls. And Governor Oti also cautioned politicians against engaging in premature political campaigns, noting that doing so contravenes electoral laws. Oti urged aspirants and their supporters to wait for the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) to officially announce the timetable for political campaigns.
I've had some people around him say, oh, they must take over the state, they will write results. The only advice I have for them is that if they truly want to write results, they should write something else before that time. You know what it is? Their will. Because this is our state, nobody can intimidate us. But having said that, am I threatened? Absolutely no. Do I bother about that? Absolutely no. But I want us to maintain peace and decorum.
Now, still on electoral matters, the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has explained that the National Register for Voters for all 36 states and the FCT contains 93.45 million registered voters with 16 voters per page, requiring 6,018,661 pages, according to a statement on Thursday by the Director, Voter Education and Publicity, Victoria Etta Messi, printing the existing polling units in the electoral wards across the country. covering 176,848 polling units, would require 4,946 pages. Olumekun was reacting to recent requests by VC Otapopo, an associate for certified true copies of the National Register of Voters for all 36 states and the Federal Capital Territory, as well as the existing polling units in the electoral wards across the country. Now, the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Abbas Tajuddin, has reiterated the National Assembly's commitment to ensuring that public funds, especially those meant for critical cleanup operations in the Niger Delta, are transparently and effectively utilized. Represented by the House Chief Whip Usman Kumo at an investigative session by the Ad Hoc Committee on Oil Spill Cleanup Funds, the Speaker said the exercise is not a witch hunt, but a move to promote transparency and accountability. The report.
The Speaker urged the committee to act with diligence and professionalism, keeping national interest and the well-being of host communities in focus. He also called for better coordination between government agencies and community organizations to ensure that cleanup efforts lead to job creation and ecosystem restoration.
Communities are supposed to benefit from the funds, whether the funds are judiciously applied, whether there is transparency in the management of the funds, whether there is fraud in the management of the funds, and whether or not there is balance in the fair distributions of the funds.
Committee Chairman Okulum Ete pledged to ensure transparency and justice in the management of remediation funds, saying the investigation would scrutinize the utilization of funds for the hydrocarbon pollution remediation project and other related interventions. He said the probe would assess project implementation, contract awards, and the performance of regulatory agencies, with all proceedings properly documented and whistleblowers protected.
Let me emphasize, this is not a political exercise or a witch hunt. It is a rigorous, evidence-driven inquiry to restore accountability, recover misapplied public funds, address institutional failures, and deliver meaningful remediation to Niger Delta communities, including your people.
The committee is expected to review how funds have been utilized, scrutinize contract awards, and assess the performance of regulatory agencies involved in oil remediation efforts.
Now moving on to more stories, the Director General of the Kaduna State Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Agency, Dr. Joseph Ike, says the agency has successfully rehabilitated and graduated hundreds of individuals across the state. Now, speaking as a part of activities marking the Mental Health Care Day celebration at the Sir Kashim Ibrahim House, Dr. Ike attributed the agency's success to the strong support it continues to receive from Governor Ubasani in the fight against drug abuse in Kaduna State. The report.
Addressing newsmen, Dr. Ike revealed that the agency has adopted innovative strategies to tackle the rising challenge of substance abuse across the state. He announced plans to train medical practitioners, nurses, and pharmacists to enhance their capacity in identifying, managing, and rehabilitating victims of drug abuse. According to him, the initiative aligns with the Kaduna State government's commitment under the leadership of Governor Ubasani to strengthening mental health care and ensuring the successful reintegration of recovering addicts into society.
Our number is on the moderate side. But when we think about the fact that the global average prevalence is about 5%, our number is still a bit uncomfortably high, because it means that we're 2 times the global average. 2018 was a very long time ago, so there's a need to do a follow-up survey and also to get a sense of not just substance abuse in isolation, but what our prevalence rate of mental health distress is, particularly among younger people. And this is something that with the Kaduna State Bureau of Statistics, something that we're working on doing by December, and so we should have updated numbers on that.
He affirmed the agency's dedication to promoting a drug-free environment, emphasizing that collaboration among health workers, security agencies, and community leaders remains crucial in combating drug abuse and improving mental well-being.
And as part of the celebration for the World Mental Health Day, we graduated the first cohort of 100 clinicians, doctors, nurses, pharmacists, and other allied medical professionals from 10 general hospitals. We have 32 general hospitals in Kaduna, and the goal is to ensure that all 32 have trained clinical staff that can manage mental health services. So on the World Mental Health Day, we graduated 100 from the first 10, and I'm happy to announce to you that starting Monday, we will begin the training of the next 10 general hospitals.
The quarterly ministerial press briefing held at the Government House was organized by the Office of the Principal Private Secretary for ministries, departments, and agencies to highlight the achievement recorded under Governor Obasani's administration.
Now, the federal government has called on all teacher training institutions across Nigeria to integrate sign language education into their curricula as part of efforts to promote inclusive learning and bridge communication gaps for learners with hearing impairments. Now, Minister of State for Education Suwaiba Said Ahmed made the call in Abuja on Thursday during the 2025 International Day of the Girl Child Celebration themed Lead a Change, Learn Sign Language Today. She said the Federal Ministry of Education, in partnership with the Universal Basic Education Commission, UBEC, remains committed to creating accessible and inclusive learning environments that empower all children, particularly girls with disabilities. Ahmed stressed the need for the policy alignment, coordinated funding, and synchronized programs to ensure that a girl who begins her journey in primary school has pathways leading to secondary education, vocational training, and beyond. She emphasized that the disability inclusion must not be an afterthought, but the core national principle. According to her, sign language is a bridge, not a barrier, connecting minds, shaping friendships, and unlocking futures. The minister urged parents, teachers, and communities to support inclusive education and empower girls to lead change one sign at a time. Now, bad driving habits remain one of the major causes of road crashes across Nigeria. Experts say reckless behavior, weak law enforcement, and a broken driver licensing system have turned the country's roads into some of the most dangerous in Africa. Abdulaziz Ibrahim examines what is fueling the growing culture of indiscipline on roads in Kano. The report.
According to the World Health Organization, Nigeria records one of Africa's highest road traffic death rates. Speeding, dangerous overtaking, ignoring traffic lights, as well as reckless behavior such as the use of mobile phones are cited as the main causes of most road crashes. Poor driving culture on Nigerian roads is a complex issue with multiple contributing factors, including driver behavior. Khalid Yusuf Mohammed has been involved in efforts to promote a safe driving culture among motorists in Kano. He explains that the recent statistics call for desperate measures to address a problem compounded by regulatory failures.
In those days, people from this state used to be very law-abiding when it comes to traffic rules and regulations. But as time goes on, because of the indifference from the traffic officials, nothing will be done to them apart from maybe the little change they give to the traffic officials. So they followed suit and started disobeying the traffic rules and regulations. And Kano has become what it is today as a result of that.
Recent efforts by regulatory agencies include the arrest and trial of traffic offenders by mobile courts. According to the Kano Road Traffic Agency, 87 offenders were arrested and tried within 2 days. For many observers, the challenge begins even before the drivers hit the road. Many motorists never attend certified driving schools or take competency tests before obtaining a license. Nowadays, you often see young boys riding tricycles or driving cars simply because their parents have money. But in those days, no matter who you were, you had to reach a certain age before being given a driver's license. Now, you see so many of them on the road. How do you expect them to follow the rules when they barely know anything about driving regulations? In Kano, the common mode of transportation is the tricycle, which has been linked to several road crashes, as majority of the operators are not licensed.
So I'm calling on the state government. This is a very good platform for them to even increase their locally generated revenue. Let them process, let them ensure that every rider is licensed before they take on the road. But there is a speculation that majority of them, if you say they should be on the road, they will start maybe rioting, and maybe they will tell you that if next election comes, we will not vote for you. That is just a gimmick.
In Kano State, the sector commander of the FRSC says the problem goes beyond driver behavior and some challenges are now being addressed.
There is some structural challenges particularly that really affect our operational activities. Some of these challenges, the inadequate road sign in so many places. As I've said earlier, there's lack of knowledge. Most of the motorists are driving without adequate knowledge of driving. So thank God in Kano, the government is making efforts to install some traffic regulations, especially these traffic lights that is installed, and actually there is a positive response to the public.
Reforming the system requires stronger enforcement, effective licensing, and sustained public education. Until then, plying Nigerian roads may continue to be risky, not because of bad vehicles, but because of bad behavior by many who shouldn't be driving. Abdulaziz Ibrahim, Trust TV News, Kano.
The Nigerian Air Force has called for stronger collaboration and mutual understanding between the military and the media, describing journalists as key partners in promoting national security and public confidence. Director of Public Relations and Information, Air Commando Ehime Ejiodami, made this known during an interactive session with members of the Nigerian Union of Journalists NUJ FCT chapter, who paid a courtesy visit to the NAF headquarters in Abuja on Thursday. Ejiodami linked the relationship between the Air Force and the media to a marriage built on trust, mutual respect, and open communication, stressing that information management during military operations must be handled with caution to avoid compromising missions or endangering the personnel. He urged journalists to uphold accuracy and responsibility, especially in the era of fake news and misinformation, noting that premature or unverified reports could accidentally aid insurgent or hostile groups. The NAF spokesperson highlighted the force's ongoing transformation into a smarter, intelligence-driven and people-focused institution that prioritizes precision and civilian protection in its operations. Earlier, NUJ FCT chairperson Grace Ike commended the Air Force for its professionalism and pledged the union's commitment to objective and credible journalism in support of peace and national development. Now, Barangada community along Das Road in Bauchi State has appealed to authorities in the education sector to address some of the challenges affecting the smooth running of their primary school, particularly in the area of girl-child education. The appeal was made at the community's primary school when a group of journalists visited as part of activities marking the 2025 International Day of the Girl Child. Trust TV's Adamu Imam completes the report.
Barangada Primary School is located a few meters off the main road leading to the local government area from the state capital. According to the school-based management committee, the school is in urgent need of water facility and perimeter fencing to enhance security and promote a conducive learning environment.
Problem about the parent of the Baramgada primary school. Most of the parents also, I see some of the parents, they cannot bring the children into the school early. Secondly, if the child will go for breakfast, some of them, they cannot come back in time. Secondly, the learners come to school without writing materials. The learners come to school without materials. The farmers go to the farm without a hoe. So that
we are appealing to the authorities to come and improve the sanitation facilities in the school. Due to heavy rainfall, some classrooms also need renovation. We always do our best, but it is not enough. The government should show more presence in this school. Even fencing the compound will greatly improve our security. Meanwhile, the Journalist Group for Public Health Initiative and Development, J4PD, said they visited Barangada community to encourage rural families to enroll their girls in school and ensure they remain until completion before marriage.
We have the culture of saying, okay, the girl child will only go to school for some time before she gets married. We want to see a situation where the girl child is in school, she's retained in school, she transits from primary to secondary school, from secondary school to tertiary institution, because the world now is where everyone needs to be educated. Even if she will not work, but let her have the knowledge so that she'll be able to take care of herself, take care of her family, and understand what the world is.
Girl child education is what matters most to us now, and we appreciate the efforts of the J4PD group for recognizing us here in Barangada community. We will encourage our religious leaders, both Muslims and Christians, to enlighten people on the importance of educating the girl child. We sincerely thank God for this gesture and for the learning materials given to our pupils. Highlights of the visit included the distribution of learning materials to pupils, a move aimed at complementing government efforts towards improving girl child education, especially in underserved areas. Adam Imam, Trust TV News, Bauchi.
And the Nigerian Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission, NUPRC, has kicked against a proposed bill to establish a new commission for decommissioning oil and gas installations. The agency says the move is unnecessary and would duplicate existing efforts. The report.
At a public hearing in Abuja, the Nigerian Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission made its stance clear. It does not support the creation of the National Commission for Decommissioning of Oil and Gas Installations.
The Commission respectfully wishes to bring to the notice of the committee that existing regulatory framework established by the PIA 2021 already provides a comprehensive, integrated, and globally benchmarked structure for managing decommissioning and abandonment in Nigeria.
The NUPRC chairman's representative said existing laws already empower regulators to manage decommissioning and abandonment through clear frameworks. According to him, the Petroleum Industry Act of 2021, along with the 2023 regulations, already address all technical, financial and environmental needs.
The current model assigns statutory responsibility for D&A planning, execution and oversight to the NUPRC in the case of the upstream and the NMDPRA in the case of the midstream and downstream. These agencies are already equipped with the technical, operational and regulatory tools to manage late-life oil field assets effectively, including cessation of production approvals, D&A fund administration, D&A program evaluation and approval, and D&A execution monitoring.
But members of the House say the proposal seeks to tackle the long-standing issue of environmental damage from abandoned oil facilities.
I want to appeal that the proposed functions of these agencies are very, very clear. And when we talk about decommissioning, as you all know, We were talking essentially about the safe removal, the dismantling, the disposal, and the repurposing of the environment that has been so despoiled by these activities. You may not readily know how many lives have been lost due to the irresponsible use of exploitation technologies.
Chairman of the committee, Alhassan Ado Doguwa, said the hearing was meant to gather insight from all sides before making any legislative decision.
Over the years, Nigeria's petroleum industry has continued to face challenges in the decommissioning and abandonment of oil and gas facilities. These challenges have had environmental, economic, and social impacts, particularly on host communities. This therefore calls for a closer look at whether the existing regulatory frameworks are sufficient or need to be strengthened, and whether establishing a dedicated body such as the proposed commission would better serve national interests.
The debate continues, but for now, the NUPRC stands firm in its opposition to the proposed commission. Meanwhile, the House Committee says it will consider all inputs before deciding on the fate of the bill.
The Controller General of Customs has reaffirmed that the service's Green Customs Initiative is not a side project but a key pillar to its modernization and sustainability agenda. He said environmental responsibility is now central to customs operations as the agency aligns with global standards on trade, border security and climate action. Habibat Ajayi reports.
Nigerians' border communities continue to face major challenges, from deforestation and poor sanitation to youth unemployment and illicit trade, issues that require bold and innovative solutions. In response, the Custom Officers' Wives Association (COA) has launched the Green Border and Sustainability Initiative, aimed at restoring ecosystems while empowering women and youth through green skills and sustainable livelihoods.
As the president of COA, I am proud to say this initiative is not just about planting trees. It is about planting hope, growing opportunities, and cultivating responsibility.
Representatives of the governors of Nasarawa and Zamfara states also highlighted the importance of environmental protection and the need to build resilient border communities.
Between Nasarawa state, because Nasarawa state is 60% of the border is actually of the FCT is Nasarawa state. Now when you have a border, it is a beauty, but it's also a burden. Because when you leave the very posh and very opulent, beautiful spectacle of Abuja, and you're driving out, and you get to Nyanya, you get to Maraba, you move on to Ado and to Masaka, and you see the derelict of that border access. It emphasizes and goes to the very heart of the importance of greening our borders.
Nigeria's borders are among the most dynamic spaces of economic activity in the sub-region, where thousands of women and young people engage daily in small-scale trade, agriculture, and services. Yet, these same communities often face environmental neglect, limited infrastructure, and lack of empowerment. By integrating sustainability principles into border management, we can transform these areas into thriving centers of trade and environmental renewal.
The Director General of the Border Communities Development Agency, Alabo Judge, acknowledged that funding constraints had previously limited the agency's efforts, but assured of renewed commitment to addressing environmental challenges across Nigeria's border.
Potentials we have in Nigeria, which is yet untapped. In Nigeria, we have over 10.6 million hectares of green. And so our Nigerian forest economy is yet untapped. And we have yet unlocked over $2 billion carbon credit potentials.
At the launch of KOWA Sustainability and Innovation Center in Abuja, the Controller General of Customs, Bashir Adeniyi, praised the contributions of women in border communities, noting that their resilience and daily support to customs operations deserves institutional recognition and empowerment.
Green Borders offers us the opportunity to turn around this particular process, to make them gainfully employed. So we've seen a number of big companies that are into recycling of waste materials and producing materials that are environmentally sustainable. So if we now have members of the border communities, women, youth, artisans who are going to engage in this kind of business, this will be very good for us. This will give us the opportunity to change the narrative of our border communities.
Stakeholders further called for sustained investment in the welfare of women and youth through improved infrastructure, wider access to opportunities, and inclusive development programs. Habibat Ajayi, Trust TV News, Abuja.
Now, away from Nigeria, dozens of mourners were injured, some critically, during the state funeral of Kenya's opposition leader, Raila Odinga, as massive crowds surged to view his coffin on Friday. The tragedy came a day after security forces reportedly opened fire, killing at least 3 people during a separate public viewing of Odinga's body in Nairobi. The 80-year-old former Prime Minister and democracy icon, affectionately known as Baba, died of a suspected heart attack while receiving medical care in India. Eyewitnesses said chaotic scenes erupted at the stadium as mourners pushed towards the coffin, leaving many with broken bones and breathing difficulties. The emergency teams rushed several victims to nearby hospitals. Odinga, remembered as a pillar of Kenya's pro-democracy movement and a 5-time presidential contender, leaves behind a towering political legacy that reshaped the nation's democratic history. For sports update, let's join Adeniyi Ajishafe.
The 2025 Zone H Pre-Nigerian University Games at the Yakubu Gowon University, formerly University of Abuja, with 7 of the 13 universities in the zone competing for honors in the zonal preliminaries. The university include host Yakubu Gowon University Abuja, Federal University of Technology Mina, Prince Abubakar Audu University Anyogba, and Nile University Abuja. Others are Ibrahim Badamasi Babangida University Lapai, Federal University Lokoja, Veritas University, and Abdulkadir Kure University, Mina. The 5-day fiesta held at the main campus of the university had the universities compete in football, volleyball, basketball, martial arts, mental sports, table tennis, badminton, and athletics. Other events include swimming, handball, and boxing. The host institution in Abuja qualified for events such as football, women's football, men's table tennis, and taekwondo, chess, volleyball, and karate for both men and women. Nile University Abuja qualified for basketball. Federal University of Technology Mina qualified in table tennis mixed doubles, men's football, and also scooped the honors in badminton men's singles. Federal University Lokoja qualified in both mixed doubles and men and women badminton singles. The pre-NUGA competition is a qualifying platform for athletes and teams of the 13 universities in Zone H to punch their tickets to 2025 Nigerian University Games to be hosted by University of Jos from 5th to 15 November 2025. And in football, Nigerian Super Falcons are set to resume continental dominance as head coach Justin Madugu has called up a formidable 21-player squad to face Republic of Benin in the final qualifying round for 2026 Women's African Cup of Nations WAFCON. The 10-time African champion will begin their campaign away from home, with the first leg set for Stade Kegri in Lome, Togo. The return leg is scheduled for the MK Abiola Stadium in Abeokuta on 28 October 2025. Leading the charge is WAFCON player of the tournament, Rasheedat Ajibade, who continues to impress at a new club, Paris Saint-Germain. African's goalkeeper of the year, Chiamaka Nnadozie, and veteran strikers Sado Shuala, Michel Alozie, Ashley Plumter, Christy Uchebe, Deborah Abiodun, Osinachi Ohale, and Oluwatosin Dimei, among others. The encounter will determine who books a ticket to Morocco 2026. That's Sport News. I'm Adeniyi Ajishafe.
With that, we've come to the end of News Hour on Trust TV. Follow us on all of our social media platforms and also subscribe to our YouTube channel for more news. I am Memona Bagudu. Have a great weekend and goodbye.